Hello and welcome. You are watching Her Sport. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are joined by Ellen Malloy of Ireland and Wexford Youths. Ellen is currently the youngest player in the Irish setup and also picked up the Young Player of the Year in the Women's National League season for 2020. Ellen, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us. I guess to kick things off, can you remember the first time, I suppose, you started playing football?
I can't really remember. All I kind of remember is like playing football in my garden with my dad and my brother. Have, I still have my first football boots, and then I just joined the team and like I was playing with. At the start, it was just kind of training, and it was like boys and girls. Like it was just a group playing, and then I just started playing with boys, and then just kept playing really.
2020 has definitely been a very different and difficult year for so many people. As a teenager in school and involved in sport, how have you found and dealt with the different lockdowns and the change in, I suppose, your everyday life?
Well, when the lockdown came, I was in TY, so it wasn't actually that bad school wise. And sports wise, it was frustrating at the start because it was just like you were going on runs and you had loads of Zooms and stuff. Um, but like to be honest, it was probably one of the longest seasons. Like I played the most football I've ever played this season because with Thomastown last season, like I'd be kind of the matches were actually every 2 weeks, and like they kind of get called off, or like I was barely playing that much. Like I was kind of just here and there playing, and then I trained with Wexford, and like I was training with Wexford for like 2 years before I actually signed, and whereas this year it was matches every weekend, and even when we had a week off, I was away with the international setup. So like I haven't really had a break since we actually got back.
I guess having sport to call upon during the lockdowns must have been a huge help both physically and mentally. How important of a role did sport play during those times?
Yeah, like definitely, because I didn't really the second and third lockdowns, like I didn't really feel much of a lockdown because um still at school, and then I was still traveling outside of the county to play football, and like I had games at the weekend. So like whereas my friends, like all of their stuff were cancelled because they weren't classified as like elite. So yeah, that was definitely like good because it would have been when there was talks of the second lockdown, like it would have been so I remember saying like I'd be so annoyed if I was going to school where like it's so easy to get COVID and then not being able to train. So like I'd say for like all my friends it was so frustrating. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess that ties in quite well to my next question. So, COVID has obviously been at the forefront of everyone's mind. You spoke recently just there about not wanting to miss sport or training because of it. I know recently you got the nasal flu vaccine, which is free for children and teenagers aged 2 to 17. I guess, can you tell me a little bit more about that experience and how it went?
It's so hard to actually like say anything about it because it literally was like nothing. Like compared to all the other vaccines, like usually my arm would be sore or like you'd feel a bit tired or faint. But like if I was to get a nose spray in the chemist, like it'd probably be more invasive than the flu vaccine. Like I thought it'd be a bit more like up your nose, but like it wasn't.
So, I suppose we're coming back into flu season again, and the vaccine helps protect yourself, your friends, your family, your teammates, your community, and hopefully it'll allow you to continue playing sport and go to training. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the flu actually is more likely to cause severe complications for children than adults. And the free nasal flu vaccine at the moment is currently available at GPs and local pharmacies. I guess from your perspective, why would you encourage children and teenagers to get the vaccine?
Well, like you don't get the flu, and also like with COVID, like even like some days, you know, if you'd even if you'd like cough, you'd be like, oh, should I get a test? Like, and like now, like I know a few of the girls who like on Wexford who were like had like a headache one day, and then they'd get sent home, and like just when you get like small symptoms now, you kind of have to get tested, and at least if you get the flu vaccine, you know it's not the flu.
Then moving back into 2020 and the football, this year you made the step up from junior to senior football. What was that like? Were you nervous or did you believe, that you belonged at that level?
Oh no, I was like, yeah, I didn't expect any of it. Like at the start of the like first preseason before lockdown, um, Kylie, our captain, was actually gone um on holidays for a lot of it. So for our like practice matches, she was missing. So it was kind of like, oh, when she comes back, like, will I be on the team? Or like it was kind of like I was just hoping to make the team. And then I was like, I'll play. At least I have the 17s Wexford. So if I don't get a game with the seniors, I can play with them. And like I was like, so it'd be grand. I'll get game time. And then kind of the second preseason, I kind of was like, I was playing regularly, and like you kind of knew the starting team. So I was like, okay, I have a good chance of starting, and I can like get my place. And then I was doing like quite well in preseason, so I was gaining a bit of confidence. And then like it just kind of, yeah, I don't know.
A big moment in 2020 came when you made your debut for Ireland. I guess, was that something you've always dreamed of? I know you're still young, but as a kid, and what was it like togging out in that green jersey against Ukraine?
Uh, yeah, like I definitely was a dream. Like my granddad actually got a cap for Ireland at like under 15 level. So he died like 3 years ago, and I actually got my first cap at under 15 level. So he was always like, oh, someday you'll get more caps than me and stuff. So like it was definitely always a dream. And like with under 17s or like any of the underage internationals, they're always like, that's where you want to be, senior level. And like so it was always like an aim, but I never knew it would be so soon. Like, and coming on for Ukraine, like my dad was always kind of like Vera has a high opinion of you, and like there is a chance, so like be ready. And I was always like, oh, I won't come on, but like I will be ready if she calls me. And then the week of Ukraine, like I was kind of in and around, like one of the starting players was kind of, she had like a niggle, so she was kind of wasn't training like all the time. And so I'd kind of be in her spot when she was sitting out and stuff. So I was like, oh, and then Vera had on the on match day, she was like, if we need a goal with 5 minutes to go, this is what we're gonna do. And like I was on the left wing, and yeah, and then it happened. I think I think the fact that there's no fans kind of made it a bit better for my debut, because I wasn't as nervous, because it was like, okay, it's just, if there was
Yeah.
all the fans, I would have been a bit overwhelmed.
And I suppose finally, as a 16-year-old going into the Irish setup with those superstars that have been there for so long, were you nervous? And I guess, was it a welcoming environment?
I was definitely so nervous at the first one in Germany. Like I just didn't know what to expect, and like just I was kind of like, I'd be like sitting down with all the players, and I just feel like sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, oh my god, like Kate McCabe is just still over there, like it'd be so like it just hit me sometimes. But as the camp went on, or like the more camps I was in, the kind of more like used to it I got, and the more like confident. Like still now, like sometimes in training, she'd be like, "Why didn't you shoot?" And it's like if I was at Wexford, I'd shoot, but like now I'm like, no, I have to pass it. So there's still kind of times where like I'm still gaining confidence, but definitely as the camps go on, I'm kind of getting better. And yeah, they were all welcoming. Like they're all kind of like, especially the first camp, they were kind of like looking out for me and like letting me know what to do. And like as the with COVID, especially the last camp, it was kind of hard because of the men scared. They were so like overprotective on the COVID, and like we had to sit at our own tables, and like that was kind of hard at the start, because like I was still quite new in, so like it was hard to like start a conversation, like all the girls were like talking over the tables, but I was kind of like, I wouldn't really be shouting over the tables at people.